Yeah. So this micro balancing that we do to the tenth of a gram of what we call a strike weight is something that's not done at any factory, but it's what we do in order to make the pianos play the way they play, which is very evenly, which is what everybody wants.
Exactly.
And so once this is all done, we have a computer-controlled, patented process for this balancing work. It's known as the Steinway method. It was invented by a man named David Steinway in Martha's Vineyard, just in the last 15 years. He's developed these patents. So this is a relatively new method of action balancing, because the way they did it in the old days, and still do at the factories, is they just put the parts in, don't weigh them, and then add lead to the front of the keys, in a pretty haphazard pattern, in order to counterbalance the uneven weight of these parts. And that result can be either good or bad or disastrous, depending on how accurately they do it. And the piano can either play pretty good or pretty heavy, or
pretty
like
uneven
a truck,
action, right?
or can be a mess. Yeah, it can be a train wreck. And then when someone comes along later and replaces parts, the way I was taught when I was a younger technician, everybody told us, don't mess with that lead in the keys. That's put in by the factory. You just put the new parts in and regulate it, and everything will be fine. Well, that doesn't actually make any sense.
I thought the regulation was the lead that's in the keys themselves.
No. No, regulation refers to the adjustment of all these parts. Once we put in the new parts, they're all over the
I thought
map.
it was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just to make it so they were all even, however it happened. I mean, I didn't know.
Well, action regulation is about making things even, but it has nothing to do with the lead in the keys or the weight of the parts. Action regulation just refers to adjustment of all these parts. And for each time you press down a key, we have 37 different adjustments. And I'm not talking about the lead or the weight. 37 different adjustments we can make to get that key to respond evenly and the way the one next to it does.
How many moving parts are there in just one key?
Don't know. Never added them up. It's about 10,000 in the whole action.
The whole deal.
So divided by 88.
Wow.
It's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, a lot going on there.
Yeah. So and when you regulate an action, you really have to go through and make all those adjustments multiple times, because when you do one thing, it changes another. But you can regulate an action until you're blue in the face and not have an even feel if there's something wrong with the weighting or the balance or the geometry in the action. So we correct all that first, and then we go through and regulate the action. But back to the key leading. So this, starting over again with our clean slate and the fact that we've adjusted what we call the strike weight within a tenth of a gram, and it's all done with a computer, so we can predict exactly how much mass we have on this side of the seesaw, if you want to call it that, the balance point in the middle. Then we use, again, a computer-controlled process and a pattern for putting the lead in the keys that ensures perfectly even mass. We're getting less and less lead as we go up. There's less up here, less here, less here. But it's balanced and even. So, and you feel this when you play the piano. I mean, this is not something that, it's a lot of work, as you can see. So why would we spend all this time doing this? Well, it's because pianists respond to it and can feel it instantly. When you sit down and play a balanced action this way, it allows you to play more musically. That's what it's all about. It's not, that's the only reason we do it, is pianists can phrase the chords and get the melody and get the music that's in their head through their fingers into the air.
Absolutely.
More easily. It's an unusual, it's called a Louis XV case style. This was built in 1917.
Look at the legs.
07. This is
1907?
piano's 07. It's made in New York. It's a New York piano, but it was just a special art case. They call this an art case. So it was a specially ordered case, and it's really unusual to see vertical grain in an American piano. No, on the side. Yeah, they rarely did that. Most of the mahogany pianos are.
Oh yeah.
Look at the legs.
Yeah.
Isn't that
As a
amazing?
matter of fact, the woman who owned this had been told that it was a Hamburg piano, and that sort of makes sense because it's a very unusual looking American piano, but it's not. It is in fact an American. Steinway. But look at these ivories.
Gorgeous.
And this is what, 100-year-old ivory. Yeah, see, we can't correct this. That much damage we can't really correct. So this, she's probably going to get, we're probably going to give her a new key set, but with plastic. That's the option she's going with. Because ivory is very expensive. It's about a $6,000 upcharge just for the ivory material.
Wow.
So it's, some people can
Some people can afford it.
afford it. And if you can, it's great.
Yeah, go for it.
And if you can't, then plastic is not bad.
Plastic, yeah.
But you can see how badly deteriorated this piano is.
That's what I figured, yeah.
And it needs everything.
Well, we had like a...
And we even gave her an option for a new soundboard, but
The soundboard's probably okay, right?
the soundboard in this piano we've determined it's okay. We can put a new one in, or we could go with the original. It's sort of up to the client.
So what determines whether or not the soundboard's bad? I mean,
Well, if it's truly dead, meaning it's not doing its job, then there's very little sustain, very little dynamic range, and very little power. Yeah, it can lose its crown, but even soundboards with pretty minimal crown can really still have all those things. And this piano has very minimal crown. If we measured it, and it's very, there's not much there, but there's still plenty of. Sorry about that. Should have warned you all. I was going to do that.
What?
Big noise.
it's okay.
We're getting sleepy.
Actually, it doesn't sound very good right now.
Yeah.
This is a very sweet, small piano, but it's got a great sound. Go ahead.
Beautiful.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Reese is